strategic priorities.
So your strategic plan doesn't gather dust?
Never. We use it always, and we use it even in the course of a year too, because so those strategic priorities are the things that get baked into the budget based on what we think our revenues are likely to be. Now, and we organize them in priority order. So if we only have the money to do the top 3, that's all we do, but we put the rest on hold to be revisited in January when we do our forecast. But there's something else that goes along with this, which is as the year goes on, when there are salary savings, when there are savings of any kind, if it's over a certain threshold, every department head has to throw that money back in a pot. And in January we say, what are the issues that we didn't get to? Are those still our priorities? Has something else come up? Or is there some big unmet need that's popped up? And we reprioritize. And sometimes we say, oh, there's a whole set that we're going to leave till the last 2 months of the year because they're absolutely visitor friendly. There would be nice to haves, not must haves. And if we decide we have the money, we'll spend it in the last couple months of the fiscal year. But it's no more the department head saying, oh, I've got this money squirreled away, I'm going to go out and buy everybody a new computer. It's very institutionally focused as opposed to departmentally focused.
So now strengthening the institution has a meaning for the entire institution. And while somebody might have to give up something, they'll get it back on some other initiative that they might value. And with resources, you can do bigger things rather than a lot of little things that might not be optimally functional for your own purpose.
Right. Or they might not. They might say, I mean, here's an example. They might say, oh, I get it. For the next 3 years, we are so committed to doing these new exhibits, to upgrading all our visitor amenities, because that's where we have to be right now. And in 3 years, we know we'll get back to funding research positions, but we can't do it now. So it's not just a give and take within the context of a year. You have to take the long view. But the reason it works is because of the strategic planning framework and the performance metrics that we have around that, so that everybody understands where we're going, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and we measure our progress and report that not only to the leadership team, but to the whole staff.
So it's indicative of a changed attitude. It's no longer my department, it's my museum.
Exactly, exactly. And I truly do not believe that we could have had the extraordinary creative collaboration between the researchers and the educators and all the people and the exhibit experts that's required to produce an extraordinary exhibit if we had not had all these other internal processes working collegially and with a big view at the same time.
I hate to sound trite. Are people happier in this institution
Absolutely.
than they were in the institution that you came in?
Without question. When I came, everything was the traditional stovepipes. Wouldn't have been a natural history museum without that. And it was even worse than that, because people had personal friendships, and that's how they got things done across the stovepipes. The channels of communication were so clogged at the top, and everybody was so focused on their stovepipe that it was difficult for someone deep in the organization to make anything happen. Now we have teams. We have a fabulous guest relations team, and we have everybody on that team, from people who are selling tickets to vice presidents and everybody in between, and they say, we could make the visitor experience better if we did this, or I observed that, or this is a bottleneck. I've never been to one of those meetings, but they work it out, they figure out what to do, they put it in place, they feel so empowered. The people who are closest to what's going on are the ones who are making the decision, and it's all across departments.
How has your role changed from the early days to today? Are you involved in different things? Is your day different today than it was previously?
Well, of course, I'm spending more time fundraising, but...
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because in contrast to what were you doing previously?
Well, I was trying to kind of get the place running smoothly so that it could be a high-performance organization. And while I don't think we're perfect, I think we've moved so far along that, along that path, that the people who report to me are the ones who are the real troubleshooters and problem solvers.
So were you previously your own troubleshooter? Were you the person who had to say, no, we can't do this, no, we need to do that? And today, you're in a more affirmative role.
Yes, exactly. Before, there was just too much of me in too many day-to-day decisions, and that's gone. And I find that I'm able to be more of a coach than somebody who goes in and makes all the decisions. And I like that, and I think it's really important. And it's the way you keep a group of high-powered people with different professional expertise working together. The Natural History Museum, in addition, is in such profound change that everyone there does windows. We're redoing 100,000 square feet of internal space, including huge improvements
Excellent.
in visitor amenities, and 5 acres of outdoor space. So it's not only I, but my direct reports are both doing the work and managing and supervising and leading the work.
What are you doing with the exterior space?
Well, we have consolidated our parking, and that has, so that's 2 acres, and that has freed up 3.5 acres of land that was formerly hardscape to enable us to have teaching learning gardens outside.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So with the Southern California climate, it is now possible for us to become a museum of nature as well as natural history. And it really is a game changer for us. It lets us walk the talk of the mission in terms of discovery and responsibility, that stewardship piece, in a way that that's far greater than what we could accomplish with an exhibit.
In an inner city urban environment.
Yes.
These transformations now are having a big impact on the educational programming. Talk a little bit about your thoughts surrounding education going forward and its importance in this institution.
I think of education really in 2 domains: programming, which is all the wonderful educational activities we have for people of all ages who walk through the door on any day of the week, in family groups or 2s or 3s, and then the program, the education that we do for our school children who come with their teachers. We're well along the road with very successful programming, innovative programming for people who walk through the door. We have a junior scientist program that any child age 5 to 12 can participate in on a monthly basis. That's fabulous. We have Critter Club for kids from 3 to 5. We have First Fridays, very cool, bands and music. We get 2,000 people.
I attended, well, it was great, and all sorts of people were coming in and just relaxing, coming to the museum simply to recreate.
Yeah, having a great time. So those are examples of very successful programs. We know how to do it. We know how to target. With regard to K-12 education, we're still experimenting. This is a model that's not yet finalized, but we've done something that's quite wonderful. We've started with teachers who are very familiar with the requirements of the California state curriculum standards, and who are also very close to us and know what we have to offer. So they have put together lesson plans.
All of a sudden, you bring in an intermediary who has a real interest in leveraging the museum for their purposes, educating their kids.
Right.
And they're starting to shape and interacting with you, shaping that education process.
There's something else about it too. Everything you say is true. And the other thing that's true is that we're really saying to teachers, we don't have all the answers. We need you to be co-creators of our content.
So now they become a partner, a strategic partner of the museum, and the museum becomes their strategic partner in their classroom.
So we're not 100% there yet, but that's the approach, and we're moving there. And I think it's been well received so far.
It's really interesting to hear how you've taken an institution that was fundamentally designed during the Victorian age, the Natural History Museum, and transforming it into this internet age of active learning and interest and dialogue.
You know, speaking of that, we've done something else very interesting. We've made a big investment in a collections management database so that when our curators digitize a part of our collection and describe it, anybody who's at the museum can access it, and where we're heading is that anyone can access it from home. So a kid who's doing a research paper, you know, yes, we want them to come to the museum, and that's the goal, but the resource that the museum can provide via the web will be so much greater than anything we've been able to do before.
So its involvement now in the research of the institution itself and on advancing knowledge.
Or if somebody comes and has a lovely day and they say, you know, I really want to learn more about that object that I saw. You know, where we're headed is they'll be able to go online and pull up that object and read everything that we know about it.
Well, Dr. Pisano, it's been such a pleasure to chat with you and to work with you. Thank you so much for providing us with your insights.
Thank you, Mark.